Sometimes there comes a moment when you decide to step back, step away from the noise, the clamor, the endless opinions that surround you. It's like pressing pause on the world to understand what's really important. And when you do that, when you simply disappear, it changes things. People start to see you differently. Some feel the impact, others they may not even notice. But one thing's for sure, it's powerful. It's powerful because it's a statement all on its own. See, in those quiet moments, when you're just with yourself, something shifts. You learn who you are without the distractions. It's not about silence. It's about strength. It's not about hiding. It's about harnessing your own truth. You learn what deserves your energy and what doesn't. And slowly you start to see the world as it really is, not as it pretends to be. Because sometimes you've got to step away from the familiar to find clarity. And in doing so, you teach people what they took for granted, what they missed, and the void left in your absence. You don't disappear out of fear or weakness. You disappear to rediscover your worth, to realign yourself with what truly matters. And when you come back, you're not the same person. You're stronger. You're wiser. And everyone else, they finally realize what you brought to the table, and they feel the weight of that missing presence. So disappear if you need to. Regain your strength, your peace, your clarity. And when you return, do so with purpose, because when you choose to go quiet, the world eventually listens. Sometimes silence is the only way to find yourself. When you step away from the world, the noise, the opinions, the constant flow of expectations, you're left alone with just you. And that's where the real work begins. You don't have anyone else telling you who you should be, what you should want, or where you're supposed to go. It's just you facing yourself raw and unfiltered. Now, that's not easy. Being alone with your thoughts, with all those unspoken questions and doubts, it can be uncomfortable. But in that discomfort is where growth lies. You get to ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding. Who am I really? What do I stand for when nobody's looking? What do I want because someone told me to want it, but because it truly speaks to me? In that quiet space, there's no hiding from the truth. And it's in that truth where you start to see who you are at your core. See, silence strips away the masks. It's like peeling back layers one by one until you're left with the real, unpolished version of yourself. And in that moment, you're forced to confront parts of you that maybe you don't like, that maybe you've been running from. But the beauty of that silence is that it doesn't judge, it just reveals. It opens up a door to self-discovery, inviting you to understand your own strengths, your own weaknesses, and all those parts that make you. When you sit in silence, you begin to understand what's yours and what was put on you by others. All the dreams, the fears, the ambitions, some of them, you realize don't even belong to you. They're things you picked up from family, friends, society, and silence helps you sort through that. You see what's real and what's been weighing you down, and slowly you shed what doesn't serve you. You start to embrace the parts of yourself that you never gave time to grow, the parts that were overshadowed by the world's expectations. Silence is not weakness, it's a tool. A tool that sharpens your mind, that hones your spirit, that allows you to step back and reintroduce yourself to the world on your own terms. Reclaiming power, it's not about shouting the loudest or making a scene. No, it's quieter than that. It's a decision you make deep within yourself, a resolve that runs silent but strong. It's the moment you decide that no one else gets to tell your story, that no one else is holding the pen to write your life. When you reclaim your power, you're taking back the parts of yourself that you've given away, sometimes knowingly, other times because you didn't even realize you'd handed them over. See, too often we let people take pieces of us. We let them dictate what we can or cannot do. We listen to voices that don't have our best interests at heart. We give in to the pressures, the expectations, the labels they slap on us. And little by little, piece by piece, we lose track of who we are. But reclaiming power is about gathering those scattered pieces, finding each one, and putting yourself back together, stronger and more complete. When you reclaim your power, you don't ask for permission. You don't wait for anyone to validate you. You decide for yourself that you are enough, that your dreams are worth pursuing, that your voice matters. It's a shift, a quiet but unshakable decision to live life on your own terms. And it starts with the little things, saying no when it doesn't serve you, walking away from what drains you, embracing what lifts you up. You see, reclaiming power isn't a battle, it's an awakening. It's realizing that you don't need to be held down by the doubts others put in your head. You don't need to carry the weight of their expectations. You're free to step into who you were meant to be without apology. When you do that, you're not just reclaiming power, you're reclaiming your life. And that's when the world starts to notice, starts to respect the boundaries you've set. Because now they're dealing with someone who knows their worth, someone who's not looking to please anyone but themselves. This power, it's quiet, but it's steady. And once you've reclaimed it, you're unstoppable. You're not waiting on anyone to define you, to give you a role or a place. You're here, standing firm, living with purpose, knowing that every step you take is yours. And that right there is true power. Assessing relationships, that's a move most people avoid because it's hard work. It takes courage to look at the people in your life and ask, are they here because they care about me, or are they here because of what they can get from me? It's a hard truth to face, but it's necessary. It's not about keeping score. It's about knowing who truly has your back and who's just along for the ride. And let me tell you, when you start to assess your relationships, you'll be surprised at what you find. See, sometimes we hold on to people out of loyalty, out of habit, out of history. We tell ourselves they've been there from the beginning, so they must care about me. But the question isn't just who's been around. It's who's shown up. Who's been there when things got real, when you had nothing to give, when you weren't at your best. Because real relationships, they're not about convenience, they're about commitment. They're not about what you can do for them, they're about standing beside you when you can barely stand yourself. When you assess relationships, you start looking past the words and focusing on the actions. Who makes the effort? Who's there in the quiet moments, in the struggle, in the uncomfortable conversations? Who's there when life isn't easy? Because those are the people who see you for who you are, not for what you have or what you can provide. And if someone doesn't show up in those moments, if they disappear when things get tough, then maybe, just maybe, they're not meant to go where you're going. Assessing relationships also means recognizing who lifts you up and who brings you down. Some people, they drain your energy, fill your life with doubt, make you question your own worth. Others, they empower you, challenge you, remind you of your strength. When you look around, ask yourself, do the people in my life make me better? Do they push me toward my goals, or do they hold me back? Because sometimes you've got to let go of certain people to find the space to grow, to move forward, to become who you're meant to be. Now, this isn't about resentment or cutting people off just to feel powerful. It's about making choices that honor who you are and where you want to go. It's about choosing relationships that feed your soul, relationships that are built on respect, on mutual support, on genuine care. Because life is too short to hold on to people who don't value you, too precious to waste on those who only take but never give. So assess those relationships. Be honest with yourself about who deserves a place in your life. And remember, it's better to walk alone than to be surrounded by people who don't truly see you. Because the people who are meant to be with you, they'll be there and they'll help you shine. Not just in the good times, but through every struggle, every triumph, every step forward. That's the power of true relationships. Clarity and solitude, that's where the real transformation begins. It's in the quiet moments, the ones where it's just you and your own thoughts, that the noise finally fades and you start to see things for what they really are. There's no one around to influence you, no distractions to pull you this way or that. In that solitude, you're left with nothing but the truth. And that's where you find clarity. See, when you're alone, really alone, you start asking yourself the questions you've been avoiding. Who am I beneath all the roles I play, beneath the expectations people have for me? Am I doing what I want to do, or am I just trying to live up to someone else's idea of success? These questions, they don't have easy answers, but in the solitude, in the stillness, you finally have the space to dig deep and face them head on. Solitude is like a mirror, and when you look into it, you see yourself stripped of pretense, stripped of the mask you wear every day. You start to recognize what's been holding you back, the fears you've been carrying, the doubts that have been whispering in your ear. And as you sit with yourself, you begin to understand those parts of you to make sense of why they're there. That's when you realize what's real and what's just noise. Clarity in solitude doesn't come easy. It requires patience, courage, and a willingness to be vulnerable with yourself. But once you embrace that stillness, you see the path you need to take. You start to see what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You recognize which dreams are yours and which ones were put on you by others. In that solitude, you sift through everything that's been clouding your vision, and little by little, the fog clears. There's power in being alone, a power that's easy to overlook. Because in a world that's constantly moving, constantly pushing you to keep up, it takes strength to stop and listen to your own voice. But when you do, you gain a sense of direction that's unshakable. You know what you stand for, what you're willing to fight for, what you're no longer willing to accept. And that's when you stop just going with the flow and start walking with purpose. Clarity in solitude is about reconnecting with yourself. It's about finding the courage to stand alone, to trust in your own instincts, to build a foundation that's yours and yours alone. And once you find that clarity, no one can take it from you. You move forward with a focus that's unbreakable, a sense of self that's untouchable. Because when you've faced yourself in solitude, when you've wrestled with your own doubts and come out stronger, that's when you truly know who you are. And that's when the world better watch out. Setting boundaries, it's about defining who you are, what you stand for, and what you're willing to accept. It's a quiet strength, a line in the sand that says, I know my worth and I won't settle for less. See, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about protecting your peace, your values, and your vision. It's about deciding what you allow into your life and what you're willing to let go. When you set boundaries, you're telling the world what you will and won't tolerate. You're saying, this is what I need to thrive, to grow, to be the best version of myself. And it takes courage to stand by that. Because people will test those boundaries. Some will question them, push against them, hoping you'll bend. But that's the beauty of boundaries. They're not there to please others. They're there to protect you, to give you the freedom to live fully and authentically. Setting boundaries means you respect yourself enough to walk away from what drains you, from what weighs you down. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are precious, that you have the right to decide how they're spent. Sometimes that means saying no when everyone else expects a yes. Sometimes it means choosing solitude over company that doesn't uplift you. It means valuing your peace of mind over someone else's approval. But boundaries aren't walls. They're not about isolation, they're about preservation. They allow you to be open and giving without losing yourself in the process. When you have clear boundaries, you can show up fully, knowing that you're not sacrificing your own needs or compromising your own principles. You're giving from a place of strength, not a place of obligation or resentment. And that's the difference. It's about giving from your overflow, not from what you can barely spare. Setting boundaries is also an act of teaching others how to treat you. You're setting the standard for the respect you expect, the trust you require, and the honesty you demand. It's a reminder that you deserve relationships that are mutual, that are rooted in respect, not convenience. And over time, you'll see who values those boundaries, who respects them, and who doesn't. And that's a gift. Two boundaries reveal the people who are truly meant to be in your life. In the end, boundaries are about building a life that reflects your values, that honors your well-being, and that allows you to pursue your purpose without interference. It's a commitment to yourself, a promise that you will guard your time, your energy, and your peace with the same care that you give to the people you love. Because at the end of the day, you can't give to others what you don't protect for yourself. Boundaries allow you to live fully, to give freely, and to walk confidently in the direction of your dreams. Strengthening resolve, it's about standing firm in your purpose, even when the ground feels like it's shifting beneath you. It's that steady fire inside, that quiet determination that keeps you moving forward, no matter what's thrown in your path. Because life will test you, it'll challenge everything you stand for, everything you believe in. But resolve is what keeps you anchored, what holds you steady through every storm, every setback, every doubt. See, strengthening resolve doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a practice, a choice you make again and again. It begins when you decide that your purpose, your vision, your values are non-negotiable. You're not easily swayed by the opinions of others or by the obstacles that show up. When you strengthen your resolve, you're committing to yourself at a deep level. You're saying, I know where I'm going, and nothing's going to turn me around. And to do that, you have to get comfortable with discomfort. Because resolve isn't about always having the answers or feeling confident every step of the way. It's about moving forward despite the fear, despite the uncertainty. It's about trusting yourself even when you're not sure of the outcome. When you strengthen your resolve, you're building resilience. You're training yourself to keep going, to dig deeper, to find strength in places you didn't know existed. Resolve is a commitment to push through the rough days, the hard days, the days when you question everything. It's about showing up day in and day out for the life you want to create, because you know that each step, each sacrifice, each moment of discipline is bringing you closer to the vision you hold. And that's what resolve is. It's seeing the bigger picture, understanding that the path may be hard, but the destination is worth it. But strengthening resolve isn't about rigidity, it's about adaptability. It's about knowing when to shift your approach, when to take a new path, when to adjust without losing sight of the goal. Life will throw curveballs, will test you in ways you never imagined. Strengthening resolve is learning to bend without breaking, to adjust without giving up, to stay true to your purpose even when the road looks different than you planned. In the end, strengthening resolve is about becoming unbreakable, not because life hasn't tested you, but because you've chosen again and again to rise above it. It's about building an inner strength that allows you to face whatever comes your way with grace, with courage, with a fierce determination. It's knowing that no matter what happens, no matter who doubts you, no matter how hard it gets, you will keep moving forward one step at a time, one choice at a time. And with each step, you're not just getting closer to your goals, you're becoming the person who can achieve them. Creating a lasting impact that's about more than just leaving behind a memory. It's about making a difference that endures, a change that ripples beyond you. When you create a lasting impact, you're doing something that resonates, something that goes deeper than surface level success. It's about the legacy you build, the positive mark you leave on people and places even long after you're gone. Creating impact starts with understanding your purpose, with knowing what you stand for and why it matters. It's about using your strengths, your unique perspective, to contribute to something bigger than yourself. This kind of impact isn't about applause or recognition. It's about the quiet satisfaction of knowing you've given something meaningful to the world. You're planting seeds that may take years to grow, but the fruit they bear can change lives, inspire others, and even reshape the future. To create a lasting impact, you have to be willing to give more than you take. You invest your time, your energy, and sometimes your comfort, knowing that it's not about immediate rewards. It's about the effect you have on others, the way you lift people up, the way you inspire them to believe in themselves, to push past their own limits. And that means being consistent, showing up even when it's not easy, putting in the work even when no one is watching. Creating impact also means living with integrity. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you do it. People remember the way you treat them, the respect you show, the honesty you bring to every interaction. They remember the example you set, the way you hold yourself to a higher standard, the way you stay true to your values even when it's inconvenient. This kind of integrity leaves a lasting mark because it inspires others to hold themselves to that same level, to strive for more in their own lives. And then there's courage, the willingness to stand up for what matters, even if it's unpopular, even if it brings criticism. Creating a lasting impact means sometimes going against the grain, challenging the status quo, speaking up for those who can't speak for themselves. It means using your voice, your influence, your platform to advocate for change, to create a world that's a little more compassionate. And in doing so, you show others the power of courage, the strength of conviction, and that example lives on. Creating a lasting impact also requires vision. You have to be able to see beyond yourself, to imagine the world as it could be, not just as it is. You're working towards something greater, something that might take years, even generations, to fully realize. But that vision, that unwavering commitment to a better future, is what drives you forward. It's what inspires others to join you, to carry on the mission, to keep the fire burning even when you're no longer there to fan the flames. When you create a lasting impact, you build something enduring. It's not about accolades, it's about legacy. It's about knowing that your actions, your choices, your contributions have added to the world in a way that matters. And that's a gift not just to others, but to yourself, a purpose fulfilled, a life well lived, a mark that time cannot erase. It's a reminder that when we choose to act with purpose, with love, and with integrity, we create an impact that echoes through generations. That is the true measure of a lasting impact. Realigning purpose, it's about coming back to what truly matters. Life has a way of pulling us in every direction, of filling our days with distractions, obligations, and noise. But every so often we have to pause, take a step back, and ask ourselves, am I still moving toward what I believe in? Am I living a life that feels right at its core? Realigning purpose is about finding that yes again, even if it means changing course, letting go of what no longer serves, and reigniting that original fire inside. Realigning doesn't mean starting over. It means looking honestly at where you are, at the choices you've made, and asking yourself if they're leading you to where you want to be. It's about stripping away all the shoulds and musts that have piled on over time and coming back to what truly resonates with you. It's not easy. It takes courage to look at your life and admit that you might be off track. But realigning purpose is a gifted chance to redirect your energy toward what fuels you, what moves you, and what you can stand behind without compromise. This process of realignment often requires letting go. You let go of the expectations others have placed on you, the paths that were never really yours. It's about shedding the labels, the titles, and even the habits that have built up along the way. Realigning purpose means deciding that your authenticity matters more than anyone else's approval. You're carving out a life that's genuinely yours, one that reflects your core values, your deepest aspirations. And that kind of clarity is rare, but it's what gives life true meaning. Sometimes, realigning purpose means facing uncomfortable truths. It means admitting that maybe you've been chasing things that don't truly fulfill you. Maybe you've been climbing a ladder that's leaned up against the wrong wall. Realigning purpose is about finding the courage to step off that path, even if it's uncertain, even if it means going against the current. It's about knowing that purpose isn't just a destination, it's the compass that guides every decision, every action, every moment. And when you realign, you're tuning back into that compass, finding your true north again. And true purpose isn't about success or accolades. It's about contribution, impact, and meaning. It's about the quiet satisfaction of knowing that you're giving your best, that you're pouring your energy into something that makes a difference. When you realign with purpose, you're connecting with that deeper calling. You're no longer just going through the motions, checking off boxes, or chasing the next achievement. You're building a life of significance, a life that speaks to the essence of who you are. Realigning purpose also means making peace with change. You might have to walk away from things that once brought you joy, from relationships that no longer support your growth, from routines that have become empty. Realigning isn't about clinging to the past, it's about honoring where you are now, honoring the person you're becoming. It's about stepping into a new chapter with clarity, intention, and a renewed sense of direction. In the end, realigning purpose is about living with intention. It's about waking up each day with a clear sense of who you are and what you're here to do. It's about knowing that your life, your choices, your time matter. And when you live like that, you don't just survive, you thrive. You become a source of inspiration, not just to others, but to yourself. Realigning with purpose brings a power, a confidence, a peace that comes from knowing that you're on the path meant for you, and no one else can walk it quite like you. Teaching gratitude is not just about saying thank you or writing a note here and there. It's about fostering a mindset, a way of living that looks beyond what's missing and focuses on what's present, what's right in front of you. It's about teaching yourself and others to see the value in every moment, every lesson, every challenge, no matter how small or how difficult it might seem at the time. Gratitude is more than an emotion, it's a practice. It's a way of shifting your perspective to see abundance instead of lack, to find joy even when things aren't perfect. Gratitude starts with the small things, the things we often overlook or take for granted. You wake up in the morning and the sun's shining. That's a gift. You get to take another breath, another step. That's a gift. There's a roof over your head, food on your table, people in your life who care about you. These are not guarantees. These are blessings. Teaching gratitude means teaching yourself and others to recognize that, to be aware of the beauty in the everyday, to notice what we have instead of what we're waiting for. But it goes deeper than just recognizing what's around us. It's about how we approach life itself. Life isn't always easy. In fact, it's often hard. There are days when it feels like everything is falling apart, when challenges seem insurmountable, when the weight of the world presses down on you. And it's in those moments when things feel toughest that gratitude becomes a true test. It's about finding the lessons in the struggle, the strength in the pain. It's about teaching yourself to ask, what can I learn from this? What is this moment trying to teach me? Gratitude doesn't ignore the hardships of life, it embraces them. It's about shifting your focus from what's broken to what can be repaired. It's about recognizing that even in adversity, there's room for growth, room for resilience. And teaching gratitude is about instilling that mindset in others, especially the younger generation. It's teaching them that life isn't about waiting for things to go perfectly. It's about embracing whatever comes your way and making the best of it, finding the silver lining and appreciating what you have, even in the face of difficulty. Gratitude is also about relationships. It's about seeing the value in the people around you. Too often, we take the people we love the most for granted. We get so caught up in the grind, the demands of life, that we forget to appreciate the ones who've been there through it all. Teaching gratitude means making sure that the people in your life know they are seen, heard, and appreciated not just for what they do, but for who they are. It's about acknowledging the efforts of those who support us, about expressing that appreciation regularly, about making others feel valued. But gratitude isn't just something we express to others, it's something we express to ourselves. How often do we look in the mirror and see ourselves with kindness, with compassion, with recognition for what we've overcome? How often do we celebrate our own growth, our own progress, even the small victories? Teaching gratitude means also teaching self-compassion. It's about learning to give yourself credit for the hard work, the sacrifices, the resilience. It's recognizing that you are worthy of gratitude just like anyone else and that your own journey deserves acknowledgement. To teach gratitude, we must also teach humility. It's recognizing that no one gets through life alone, that every success, every achievement, every moment of peace is built on the foundation of support, effort, and even mistakes. Gratitude keeps us grounded. It reminds us that we are part of something bigger than ourselves, that we are interconnected, and that every moment of joy is a gift, not a given. It teaches us to be humble, to approach life with a sense of reverence for the good things we have, and to recognize the hand of others in our own success. In the end, teaching gratitude is about cultivating a way of life that sees abundance instead of scarcity. It's about shifting the mindset from what's lacking to what's present, from what's missing to what's been given. It's about making gratitude not just an occasional practice, but a constant state of being. Because when you live with gratitude, you invite more of what you appreciate into your life. You attract more joy, more love, more opportunities, because gratitude is the foundation that attracts all the good that life has to offer. And that's the power of teaching gratitude. It changes everything. It transforms the way you see the world, the way you approach challenges, the way you connect with others, and the way you show up for yourself. It teaches you to live fully in the present, to savor every moment, to appreciate every blessing, and to understand that no matter what, there's always something to be grateful for. Returning with intent, it's not just about coming back to where you were. It's about coming back with purpose, with focus, with a renewed sense of direction. Life has a way of pulling us off course, knocking us down, testing our strength. Sometimes we leave situations, relationships, or challenges to heal, to regroup, or to find ourselves again. But when we come back, we can't just slide back into the same old patterns, the same old mindset. We must return with intent, with a clear understanding of why we're coming back and what we're aiming to achieve. When you return with intent, you're doing more than just picking up the pieces. You're looking at everything in your life, your choices, your relationships with a fresh perspective. You don't just come back to continue where you left off. You come back to take things to a new level. You return stronger, wiser, more deliberate about what you want from life and who you want to be. It's about being intentional in your actions, in your words, and in your approach to the world. You don't just go through the motions anymore. Every step you take has meaning. Every choice you make has purpose. You're no longer just existing, you're living with intention. Coming back with intent also means letting go of what no longer serves you. It means shedding the weight of past mistakes, past disappointments, past fears, and using those experiences not as anchors, but as lessons. You've grown, you've learned, and now with that knowledge, you're returning to the world with a new outlook. You're returning with a commitment to leave behind the things that are holding you back, whether it's doubt, resentment, or old ways of thinking. You come back lighter, more focused, and more ready to move forward with confidence. When you return with intent, you also bring clarity. You don't just return because it's expected or because it's comfortable. You return because you know what you want and you know what you have to offer. You've gained insight through your time away, and now you see the world, your role in it, and your impact on others with greater understanding. Clarity in your purpose means clarity in your actions. You no longer stumble around trying to figure things out. You know where you're going and you know why you're going there. Realizing that you have the power to make choices that shape your future, that's part of returning with intent. It's about owning your power, stepping back into the game of life with full awareness of your abilities, your strengths, and your potential. It's about knowing that every day is a chance to start fresh, to do better, to aim higher. You understand that you have a responsibility, not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. When you return with intent, you understand that the choices you make have an impact, and you don't take that lightly. Sometimes returning with intent means taking a stand. It means stepping into situations, relationships, or opportunities with conviction. No more hiding behind indecision or uncertainty. You walk into spaces with your head held high, clear about your values, clear about what you stand for. You aren't afraid to speak your truth, to challenge the status quo, to push for change. You return with the intent to make things better, to create a space where honesty, integrity, and growth can flourish. You're no longer silent, you're loud, proud, and intentional about your presence. And coming back with intent also means taking full responsibility for your actions. You own your mistakes, you own your decisions, and you take charge of your future. There's no blaming, no making excuses. You understand that you are the architect of your life, and every step you take now is a deliberate choice. You learn from your past, but you don't live in it. You embrace the opportunities that come with returning, and you use them to build a life that is aligned with your values and your vision. Returning with intent isn't always easy. It's not always comfortable. It means facing the reality of who you were and who you want to be. But it's also empowering. It's about reclaiming your narrative, your journey, your power. It's about not just surviving, but thriving. You're coming back with purpose. No more drifting through life. No more waiting for things to happen. You're stepping into each day with intent, ready to shape the future on your own terms. When you return, you do it with purpose, with focus, and with the full understanding that what you do next will determine the path you walk from here on out.